Recent figures have revealed that over 74,000 people are currently awaiting their driving test date.
Yes, and here to tell us more is motoring editor of the Sunday Independent, Geraldine Herbert, and learner Matthew Duff, who's still awaiting a test. Good morning to both.
Morning, guys.
Morning. So, Geraldine, give us the latest on the learner permits and the driving tests in Ireland. What's happening?
OK, well, what's proposed is, right, currently, if you're on a learner test permit, you have it for 2 years, your first one, and then your second one for 2 years. By the time you get to your third, you either have to have booked, sat or failed a test in order to renew it. Now, where the issue is you can just book a test, renew your learner permit, cancel the test, and you can keep doing this. There's actually nothing to stop you, and that's what the problem is. We have these... like literally,
you don't have to sit the test.
Never-ending learners. So the proposal is that when you get to that third or subsequent learner permit, that you have to sit a test number one, and by the time you've had 4 learner permits, that's it. You've had enough. You go back to square one if you haven't passed a test at that stage, and that's 6 years, which is a reasonable enough time frame.
So are you telling us that you can keep cancelling that test for 10, 12, 14 years?
As long as you like.
20 years?
Yeah.
But why would they? Surely when you're driving on an L plate, your insurance is higher. There's a lot of repercussions to not doing your test. Why are people out there just too afraid of doing the test?
I don't know if anybody has actually looked at that, whether it's just they get into a habit. I mean, the rules are there. There's stringent penalties if you're caught driving unaccompanied. Like, your car can be seized, and even if it's not your car and you've borrowed it, it can still be seized. So you'd imagine all of these would act as a deterrent, and higher insurance and all of that. But obviously, there isn't enough enforcement. There isn't a big enough risk that people just go, I'll keep going.
OK, Matthew, you are one of these people who is a learner, but you want to do your test, right?
Yes,
so tell us
100%.
what the situation is.
So I've been in the system for about 10 months. Finished my lessons in May. Booked my test. Didn't get the test until November. Sat the test. I unfortunately failed. I got 10 grade 2s. You need 8 to pass at minimum. And then the same day I booked a retest, and I'm still waiting.
You're still waiting. That was last November, you said?
Yes,
November. So you're waiting some last November, it's now March, just for a retest.
Yeah.
So tell us how this is implicating you then, impacting you.
So I go to college up in Coolock. I work freelance production running. I'm also in a band in my free time, and, you know, public transport does not cut it at all.
Because you live in Rathoath?
Yeah.
So how long does it take you to get to college in Coolock every day?
So it's an hour and a half bus into town, and then roughly another half an hour bus to Coolock. So it's about 2 hours with traffic. It can be up to 3, which is...
Every day to get to college?
Every day to get to college.
And then that's getting back is the same?
Yeah.
Listen, they're trying to put us on public transport. I totally and utterly get the reasons behind this, but for some people, it is like when we're talking to someone who's living in Tralee, anywhere that isn't accessible or in an urban area, there are no other options than to drive. We'd love to hear from you today, 0896 111 111. And you were doing everything right. You did your 10 lessons and you applied immediately. And fail rates, like, that's totally acceptable. That happens all the time. You've done everything. So... You must be a bit frustrated. Yeah,
extremely. Like, trying to get to college, like me and my friends who also live in Rathoath, we're late most mornings. Trying to get to work is usually okay, but I can't do other jobs that are out in different counties. And trying to bring a whole drum kit on the bus is it's not fun. It's really not fun.
I'm sorry. Why didn't I become a guitarist?
You actually try and take the drum kit on the bus?
Yeah. I have a big blue IKEA bag. And
No,
Matthew, I bow down. Come on.
That is brilliant, Geraldine. So the proposals now are that after your third one, after your third permit...
After your second permit, you have to sit a test.
You have to, and then if you cancel that, what do they do? How will they follow up to go, sorry, you've cancelled, you've got to sit it...
Well, I presume you just won't be able to get another permit until you have sat a test. So that'll be the first change. And the other one is that at the end of 4 permits, which is 6 years, as I said, you then will, if you haven't passed a test at that stage, you will have to go back to square one, do the theory test, do the lessons, reapply, do all of that.
OK, what do you make of that? 0896 111 111. I think fair play. You know, if it's something that you've been putting off cancelling, you've picked up bad habits.
Yeah, look, I think listening to Matthew, there's a number of things that need to happen. We need better public transport, but we need shorter driving test waiting times. The current system is just not workable. It's supposed to be 10 weeks. The RSA have said that. I checked it yesterday, 5 random test centres. The best I got was 18 weeks. The worst I got was 25 weeks. That's not acceptable.
They're claiming that they don't have drivers and they're recruiting new
there's
drivers.
Lots of reasons, but
they have this
needs to
statement
be
all
addressed.
the time.
Yeah.
We're recruiting new drivers. And we were just talking about that. I'm mentioning earlier on. So if you're a learner driver, you're supposed to have an accompanying adult in the car, somebody who has a full licence in the car with you. I was behind a girl yesterday in a learner driver car, going really slow, and I was going, I won't overtake her because, you've just been trying to.
Yeah.
And I said, I have to overtake her. There she was on her mobile phone in the car. And I've seen this so many times. I've seen it on the M50 with L and N drivers. How are they getting away with it? Is it just not being enforced?
Well, 2 things there. I think they're getting away with being on their mobile phone because fully licensed drivers are doing the same.
Exactly.
But I'm just saying.
But no, I mean, as I said, there are very strict penalties around being caught unaccompanied.
What are the penalties?
Well, the penalties are, as I said, you'll get penalty points, you'll get a fine, but the car can be seized. That's the big thing. And if you give someone a loan of a car, that can still be seized. But I think the problem is we can't have long-term learners and expect them to be accompanied. We need to shorten that list. We need to make it easy to get your driving test. We need to improve public transport. There's lots of things. This is only just one of them.
And just for you, Matthew, obviously still with the L plates, hopefully you'll get your test. You've been waiting since November now for a retest. We're now well into March. And after that, you'll be on your N plates, which, comes with other things.
Sure.
For you and your friends who are actively trying to do the right thing, what are you asking the RSA to do? What are you asking the government to do?
Anything, to be honest. In my area of Ratouth, Ashburn, Dunshaughlin, sort of the nearest test centre would be either Mulhuddard or Navan. If they had one test centre for those 3 local areas,
And the fact is the population increase in that area has gone through the roof, so it's just not fit for purpose anymore.
And are you hearing anything back from them when you might get a date?
No, because if you book so when you first book your test, you can track the progress of it, but when you book a retest, you can't track it.
Oh my God, I can see you there, Matthew, going, come on, let's just go, keep on going.
Come on, I'm sick of the drums in the IKEA bag on the bus.
Can you give him a salute if you see him on the bus with the drums in the IKEA bag? Matthew Duff, who's a learner driver, thank you so much for joining us this morning. And as always, the motoring editor of the Sunday Independent, Geraldine Herbert. Thank you very much.
This needs to be brought in, Geraldine, doesn't it? It really does need to be brought in.
But lots needs to happen all around the driving test. It's not just the long-term learners.
0896 111 111 to get in contact.